What is up, guys and gals? Welcome back to Weekly Indie Newcomer, the series where you and I take a look at an indie game that's been bouncing around my brain over the course of the last week. This week we'll be taking a look at Axes and Acres, which is a game that I didn't get any press releases about. I didn't know anything about it until Steam recommended it to me, and I picked it up on a whim. And I actually found the game to be pretty enjoyable. It's a minimalist game. It's basically a digital board game, if you like that sort of thing. And it's quite a bit of fun. I like the way that it turned out. I'm not good at the game, but it's a game that's all about planning and playing appropriately and trying to complete maps. It just randomly generates maps for you. You build a little society up, and then you've got to keep yourself safe from marauding Vikings and stuff like that. It's very, very simple. I mean, it's just icons on a grid. It's not a complicated animated game at all. But at the same time, I enjoyed it enough that I put 5 or 6 hours into it, and I was like, yeah, sure. There's a lot of gameplay tenets that I don't understand as of right now, and there's a lot of things that you kind of have to figure out for yourself. The tutorial and the how to play videos are kind of interesting. The tutorial itself could definitely use some fleshing out. I didn't get a chance to watch the how to play video, but I did do the entire tutorial, and it still left me with a lot of questions by the time that I finished it. But you should be able to finish, or I guess figure a lot of it out along the way. It's kind of a trial and error type of game. So without further ado, let's check out Axes and Acres, shall we? Okay, so the beginning of Axes and Acres always starts out with the game giving you a little map. This time around, it looks like we are bordering water, so we've got like a lake or something right there. This game is very much pictorial, so it doesn't tell you what a lot of the things do. You've kind of got to sort it out for yourself. But anyways, let's talk about what some of the things are that we got going on right now. Our resources. We've got meat, which is how we play our little worker dice down here. Every single turn, it's going to roll some dice for you, and those dice can be any type of worker. So these are gatherers. These are workers. These are builders. And then there's another one in there. Yeah, there's breeders. And I think that's it. The breeders I don't use very often. I tend to use them as kind of like a, I don't know. I use them to feed other stuff, and you'll see what I mean right there. These down here, we can trade in these dice to allow other dice that are already deployed on the board to move around a little bit. These are all the things that we can build right here in order to kind of terraform our area and make it a little bit nicer. All good stuff to have. We've got some wood. We've got some stone. We've got our victory points. So in order to get through the end of this thing, we have to have 8 victory points. We have 0 right now. And so by doing these objectives right here, you will get your VPs. So 18 VP by round 198. Abandoned building appears. Okay. And so if we've got VPs by round 100, let me go ahead and move my, there we go. Sorry, I've got my Fraps notification up here. 8 VP by round 100, we get Peasant Fervor, and the peasant becomes a priest. Priests are pretty good because they can go on inquisitions to kill these guys right here. This is a Viking base. They're going to sit here, and for 12 turns, they're just going to sit and have Viking sex, and then eventually, at the end of that 12 days, they gestate a Viking who goes and pops out, and then he heads for your houses over here, which is your city. And if he destroys it, that's not good for you. That's really, really bad because you can only deploy your dice on these little houses or on the things that you've built. These bunnies give you meat. This is a location where you can get stone from. These you obviously can get wood from. The Vikings will destroy these too as they go through, and so it's usually a good idea to punk the Viking very, very early on, or at least make some kind of plan to kill off. Actually, we have 2 spawners in here. That seems like a bit much. Okay. That's going to be a pain in the ass to work with, but you know what? We're going to make this happen. Chances are he's going to come down this way and chew up all the resources. This guy is going to do similarly. First thing we kind of want to do is we've only got 4 right there. So what we want to do is we probably want to get in here with a worker. And so you click on a worker, you click a location, it'll charge you the 1 food, and now we have a worker on this little square right here. I would also recommend that we get some movement for said little worker. So I'm going to trade in 2 of my gatherers for 4 movement by clicking and then going down here. I'm going to try and teach us like a little bit of a tutorial for people to get started with the game so that they can figure out how to play. And that's going to allow him to move. You see how he's ringed in green now? We can now move him around. So if I click right here, we can bring him to this spot, to this spot, to this spot, to that spot. Then, in order to activate a card that's on a space, or to activate a worker that's on a space, you've got to select another worker to sacrifice as part of the cost. So in this case, I'll take another worker. By clicking on there, there's now 5 food on that location. One of our victory point conditions was to hunt 1 animal on this little lit up little scroll over here, so you'll see that we now have 1 VP on our first turn. Not bad at all. We're already working towards our objectives. And so as you can see, this is very much a board game that you kind of play against the board itself. It's got that in common with games like Arkham Horror, and there was a couple other ones. There's one that's like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round or something like that. There's a couple board games that have those exact same things going on where you've got to kind of play against the board itself. It's not a PvP game. There's stuff going on the map, and you've kind of got to play against time, and it's randomly spawning threats against you that you've got to deal with. Aside from that, we've got 5 food right there. I'm going to deploy him on that side, and I'm going to get this little guy moving over to here, this gatherer, so that I can grab that 5 food right there, so that on the next turn, we'll be able to actually deploy some minions. But for right now, we are all out of stuff that we could do, and so we can end our turn. I would highly recommend that you save a lot. I would just say, oh, actually, it's going to save and quit. Okay, I would recommend you save a lot. Not because the game crashes or anything like that, but this is a game of planning where if your strategy is weak, like in the first 10 turns, it can really hurt you on turn 50. It can really hurt you on turn 100 if you're not being smart about the way you do stuff on turn 25. It's just a game that's all about putting plans in motion. Let's go ahead and end our turn. And as you can see, our bandito counters have gone down. It has spawned a few more things for us. It gave us some freebie food so that you never quite run out of resources. You should still be able to get things up and running in a minimalist sense if you really, really need to. I'm going to sacrifice a builder. That's going to bring him up to here. I'm going to sacrifice a builder to get that 5 food, which is now added right there. That was the rabbits that we hunted on the previous turn, using the stuff that we had going on right there. I think from there, it would probably be wise to just kind of fill up the board, I guess. I think I can do something like this right here. And then on the next turn, we'll kind of see where this goes. I'm going to chop down this tree so we can get a little bit more lumber. That's what I'm concerned about right now. So down goes that tree right there. As I told you, you have to sacrifice a dice in order to activate a worker who's on a tile. That's why I'm losing those right there, in case you didn't know. We're going to need to sacrifice one of these guys to move him over to here, and then sacrifice one of them to go ahead and give ourselves 2 more wood. It's always good to have a little bit of wood. And then I can't decide if I want to deploy him or not. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We still have moves available. I'm overstocked on moves. Now, what you can do is if you wanted to save these moves, you can click on this one instead. So you can sacrifice a dice onto this one, and that'll give you a move that's saved into your next turn, so you can stockpile moves. And that's actually really, really useful. You can also get stockpiled moves from other little actions that you can do around the map. But aside from that, probably not going to do it right now. Instead, I'm going to deploy a worker right there, because why not? And then since he can move, we might as well move him. We're going to lose the movement anyways. So 5 dice out. We got 2 workers and 3 gatherers. Not the best turn for us. We could have had a better turn. My suggestion would be that we start to make allowances for this bandit hive over here. What'll happen is when this spawns a barbarian, it'll make another hive somewhere else. It'll kill this hive, and there'll just be a barbarian in its place. Kill that barbarian. And so you should like have a constantly rotating assembly of Vikings that should be attacking you at all times until you start to get up to the point where you can build the church, which will give you inquisitions, which means you can go out and you can hunt the barbarians and kill them before they spawn. We have to have 2 farms in order to make this work. Okay, we need builders in order to do that, though, and we don't have builders right now, so you can sacrifice 2 dice to kill a barbarian. So I'm going to start doing that right now. Yeah. Give me a whole bunch of movement. And I'm going to start moving these guys this way to intercept this barbarian once he spawns so that I can sacrifice 2 dice to kill him. Because I don't want him to come through here, and I don't want him to destroy the stone pile. If he destroys the stone pile, we can build upgrades on top of these trees and on these stone piles. And it's very, very possible that the barbarians will clear out the entire map on their way to your base and make it so it's very difficult for you to have resources. You can spawn more by using certain things. So if you've got, let's see here, there are buildings around that will spawn things for you. So for example, if you build yourself a hunter's hut right here, the hunter's hut will spawn a rabbit. I'm pretty sure anyways. If you sacrifice a rabbit on top of it, it will spawn a rabbit. You can also get stuff from these cards right here. These are basically cards in your hand. You can sacrifice the dice that they have shown right there in order to get the effect that's on the card. And so you can sacrifice a gatherer to then boost a gatherer that's already on a gatherable node and get +1 out of whatever you would have gotten. In addition, you can also sacrifice a dice to get 6 movement if you wanted to, and I'll probably do that pretty soon as well. We got 4 dice out right now. I need builders more than anything else, so I'm going to sacrifice a worker to get 6 movement. We're going to bring some of these little dudes out here. And I'm going to get them ready for the barbarian spawn so we can kill him off. We'll do something similar down here, if we can. There's nothing that I really want to deploy right now, so I'm going to end my turn. We can only have 4 dice because we have them deployed, by the way. Dice that are on the board, they keep you from rolling dice down here. We're actually having a lot of bad luck right now. It might be worth it to make a new dice of the type that we want. So let's put 2 breeders in here. And if you have 2 breeders on the same spot, I think you can sacrifice like so, and you can tell them to reproduce. And yes, I would very much like... What just happened? I misclicked something, I think. I think I misclicked. It's okay. I can live with it. Got dice out. Oh, there's our builders. So with our builders, what we want to start doing now is we actually want to build shit. I know, it seems like a novel concept, but building shit is a good plan. At least we got a bunch of stored up movement we can save. So I'm going to move you over to here so we have those 2 ready to fight with the barbarian. I don't think we can do much else right there. Instead, let's sacrifice a builder to take this guy out to here. And we can build roads pretty much free. Building roads isn't that bad. And what roads allow you to do is they allow you, so let's say you have a road that moves all the way across the map straight this way. That means that any unit for 1 movement can move to anywhere along that road for 1 movement. It becomes very, very useful for your mobility, and you do want to focus on building roads, in my opinion anyways. It feels like a smart idea, so we'll sacrifice a builder to activate him and build a road right there. And that's the little icon for a road. In addition, we'll drop another guy right there, and then we'll end our turn. We've got another builder, so we should be able to keep that road moving if we so desire. Let me get a worker deployed. We're looking a little bit weird on food right now, and I'd like to get that taken care of. We'll sacrifice a gatherer to move him over to here. Use that to activate and build another road so that our movement gets a little bit better. We'll sacrifice him so that we can start moving this Chaparino down this way to go grab that bunny. Okay, gonna need more movement. We'll move him to there, then we'll activate him to get those. We've hunted another animal, so we get yet another victory point, so that's pretty cool. We're well on our way to achieving our first little set. If you get this done, it moves to this right here, in case you didn't know. And so the goal to winning is to get to the 3rd card. So if you've accomplished 8 victory points by the time you get to 100, it'll pop into this card. And then by 198, you have to have 18, and you see like it just moves its way across. And so the game is kind of fluid like that. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's get him deployed. Because we're going to want to set up for this barbarian too. We're going to want to run defense pretty aggressively here. On this turn, I'm basically going to trade all of them in for movement. So that I have some things in play where I want them to be. I don't know if that spawns in, so what I can do... So that's 1 hit. Got 2 turns till that one comes back up, so yeah, we're going to be spending quite a bit of movement here to make this happen. So that barbarian is down, and please believe me when I say you've got to take care of that. If you don't fix your barbarian problem early, it is going to screw you later on down the line. Okay, so we've got a lot more cards to play with now. I need a little bit more movement, and that'll buy us some breathing room. We'll have about 8 turns to play around with after we get rid of this barbarian right here. I will probably put another builder in right here. We've got extra movement available. We don't particularly need a lot of the stuff around here. So instead, I will move him to there. Move you to there. And we'll build a road right there. I want to be able to traverse the map very, very easily so we're not sacrificing so many die later on just to move. We have our barbarian. So we'll sacrifice 1 breeder. We'll go handle him so that barbarian's taken care of. No longer have to fiddle around with the hairy nemesis that's coming after us to despoil our civilization. We need builders. And the next thing I would focus on is probably building a lumberyard up inside of here so that we have like an endless supply of wood. So I'll move him up to there. Yeah. And then we'll activate... Actually, no, we'll activate him because we're going to need more hammers in order to finish this off. So what'll happen is when we try to build this right here, you see how along this side, that's how many workers it takes to finish that off. So if you start this, it means we're going to need one more. Actually, no, it only takes one hammer to finish that. Yeah, so Lumberyard should be easy peasy. Let's do it. Boom. And so now we've got a Lumberyard. As long as it is adjacent to a tree, every single turn, it will generate 1 wood. And then we can just send a gatherer over here to pick this up so that we aren't chopping down our trees. When you chop down your trees, they're gone for good. The Lumberyard makes it so that these are constantly just spawning wood for you so that you have to worry about your production costs later on. I think from there, we've got one more builder. I'd like to start a farm, which is basically the same thing, but for food instead of for logs. And so there you can see we've got 1 wood on that location. Pretty cool stuff. Good things to have. I think... I love the music in this game, by the way. Super relaxing. This is one of those games that you can play at 2 in the morning when you have, like, work the next day and just, like, totally unwind and relax. And by the time I get to the end of it, I'm, like, super sleepy. But it's, like, entertaining. It's not boring. It doesn't make you sleepy because you're bored. It's just, like, one of those quiet, contemplative games you can play while you've got, like, other things. It's like Minesweeper, basically. It's a game that you can play that requires you to use your brain at a certain level, but you can still watch Netflix or something while you do it. It's just a really, really cool little game. I like it. I like it a lot. Got a hammer right there, and we got to move that hammer. So I'm going to move him. Actually, never mind. I've been building all these roads, and I'm doing stupid things right now that I shouldn't be doing. Let's go ahead and we'll sacrifice a hammer right there. No, we won't. You can right-click to cancel anything that you just did, by the way. We'll activate him with a breeder, and we'll put in a farm. That is going to cost us most of our wood. Yeah, we got to send another hammer over here. You see what I mean? On the farm, it says that it takes 2 hammers. We got to bring another worker over here to finish that off. So 1 out of 2 workers have been deployed on that spot. In addition, what I'll probably do next, what I should have done is I should have chopped down this tree, gathered the wood, then put the farm right there. Then I could have put the rock quarry right there, but it'll probably be okay. I think we'll be all right. I need not that much movement, actually. We already have movement, so let's move you over to here. And then we've got to activate him just like we do everything else. We now have a farm. And so if we send a worker over here to work this, he will plant seeds and it will add food to this space. So I'll show you what that looks like since we have 1 movement left. I can move him over to here. We'll activate him on the next turn. And you can see what it looks like when we get a whole bunch of, random resources out. Okay, our road system's going really well, by the way. I'm happy with the way we're cutting across the map right now. This is looking like it's going to be a pretty solid playthrough. Although, bear in mind, we are already on turn 15, and so we need to get some more. We need to get some more victory points. What does the mason do? Have 2 masons. Okay. So reduces the building costs. So we have the builder's hall, and we can use that to convert people into masons. Masons can deploy, so you can convert these cards. You see how the dice on that card are gray colored? That means that they can deploy on a house or they can deploy on a mason slot as far as I can tell. Or for example, if you had the dice like with the theater, they're blue. That means that they can deploy on a theater space or they can deploy on a normal space. It makes their deployment options a little bit more robust. Aside from that, I haven't worked out what the other uses are for the colored dice. It doesn't do a great job of explaining in the tutorial. I probably should have watched the video, but frankly, if it takes me more than like 45 minutes to learn to play a game, I start debating whether I want to learn it in the first place. Like, I'm talking like a basic rudimentary understanding. Like, as you can tell, I know how to play the game after doing like the 30-minute tutorial, but there's still a lot of weird gameplay tenets that are not fully explained, and I think it could be fleshed out better. What do I want to do right now? Well, we'll activate you, which will add 5 food to the space, which is really pretty fantastic. I probably shouldn't have burned a gatherer on that, because I need to get the wood and I need to get that. So, oh, there's food down there too. Shizer. Okay, well, we'll focus on the food that's close at hand first. Let me knock out a builder so that I can move. We'll move him over to there. We'll use a worker to get that 5 food so we don't have to worry about food for a little while. Now that that's done, I'm going to deploy a worker right there. We still have 1 move remaining, so I'm going to come chop down this tree so that we have a little bit of space on hand. if in case I wanted to build another farm. I mean, there's really no point in doing so, aside from getting the VPs if we get really, really desperate. Chop those down, so there's 2 wood on that space, so we have a decent wood supply waiting for us right now. And we got a bonus dice that time around. Cool. So, with our bonus dice, what I'd like to do... we need gatherers. We also need movement. I'm going to bring him over here to get wood, giggity. And so now that our gatherers all have wood, we'll send them back to the huts to become breeders. I do need a builder. Does the quarry need to be next to it, or is it on top of? Build on a stone pit. Allows you to gain stone in 1 step. Normally, you would have to work, then gather. Instead, we can send either of those workers over there and get 1 stone. And we can do that over and over and over again, which is good stuff, Maynard. I'm down. So let's bring him over to here. We're going to need a little bit more movement. The quarry's going to take 3 hammers to get done. So we'll deploy the next hammer. We'll sacrifice you to move, you to there, you to start construction of the quarry. Our 3 hammers are not to be forgotten about. We still have 1 movement remaining, so we'll get him nice and adjacent. We'll end our turn. That'll give us 5 dice. It's probably wise that we start moving people down here to start fighting this barbarian. Otherwise, he could cause problems. But after we get that done, we'll have access to pretty much every basic resource that we need in order to play the long game here. I would love to have you right there. Buildy, I need you out here too. I will sacrifice you to get movement. You can go over there. I'm gonna get them ready to go off and fend with these guys, I think. We'll have him activate that hammer right there, so that's all good to go. In the turn, we don't have a lot of dice to use right now, but this turn is mostly going to be for self-defense anyways. Okay, so they've moved around a little bit. Try this out again. 2 turns left to go. They are in a space that I would like them to be. We've got 2 breeders left. We could convert those into a different dice that we need, but honestly, I'm going to do that right there. We'll move him out that way. He's got 1 move remaining, so that's good. On the next turn, we'll activate what we can activate. So you, sir, finish our quarry. Good stuff. You, sir, gather up that wood. So there's the wood right there. And then you guys just hang tight until we get that taken care of. I can get people up there pretty quickly, so it's not that bad. Give me 2 movement. We'll fight that barbarian. That barbarian's done. We will deploy several to go and fight with that barbarian right there. 1, 2, 3. I need to build another road too. So that may in fact be what I do. Oh, we gotta chop down the tree first. Shitty. Okay, that's fine. Oh, got a dice in my hand. The game doesn't like it when you try to end a turn with a dice in your hand. It gets very, very upset about it. It gets offended with a quickness. We gotta gather that. I think we gotta chop down those trees first before we can build a road. I'm gonna try and sacrifice 2 of these guys to kill the barbarian because they're by far one of the less useful dice. We need 3 more. So I'll use one of my temps to get that done. Don't think we need a gatherer right now. Haven't scored any VPs in a bit though, and that's got me worried. I may build another farm right there just to get 2 more. Just in case. Gotta chop down that tree before I can do much else here. The tree has been chopped. Now I can make another road so that we can move a little bit better. Probably going to need gatherers to get stuff done here, but I'm going to sacrifice him for extra movement. We will use some of our stored up movement here to go ahead and whack that Viking as quickly as possible. He's now done. We have 2 big Viking bases down to the south. But on the plus side, we can actually get there pretty quickly, so it's not that bad. I think I would like... some workers. We're going to get our stone supply fleshed out. So there's a stone right there. Next turn we'll have more. I can sacrifice a gatherer. No, I actually need the gatherers. Let's bring in the gatherers, shall we? And then we'll sacrifice a worker to get another stone right there. And so, you really do want to protect these nodes from the Vikings if you can. If they destroy them, it can make your life a nightmare trying to get certain resources. If you allow them to burn down, like, the quarry first thing, and you only have, like, 1 stone quarry, or you only have, like, 2 stone quarries, it's a little bit of a pain. It can be a problem. So I need food pretty badly, actually. Didn't need to do that right there, but I figured I would. I was aware of what I just did. I just wasted a move because I could have moved there in 1, but the move was going to be lost at the end of the turn anyways. So there's 3 more wood. Supplies are starting to look pretty good. We'll gather up the food from right there. And we're in a pretty solid position at the moment. We get a victory point for building a fountain, which is... that'll put us right up along the edge. So if we build a farm and then we build that, we'll already on turn 26 be well into our second objective. And we needed to build a fountain for that one too, so... might work out pretty well. Might work out pretty well. One of the things we could do is we could do a builder's hall, which would allow us to have masons, which would be pretty smart. I may get on that. I don't know. I'm going to store these guys up for more movement later on. See what kind of dice we get out here. So I need you to go down this way. You are going to work that hex and get rid of that tree, because I don't like it there. Give me some movement. I'm going to move you over to there. I'm going to burn you to give me a road out of the south end of town. And I may actually have this one go all the way across that way so that I have roads that allow me to get to everywhere as quickly as possible. It'll take time in order to get that deployment finished off, but I am of the opinion that it'll be worth it. 2 turns left until we've got to deal with barbarians one more time. I'm going to activate him using this gatherer right here. He will give us another road. That road will be fantastic, and we will love it. And then food is dwindling a bit, but not too badly. And then we only need 2 of those right there to get them to here now, which will take care of that bad guy. In the meantime, I would suggest we get some hammers trucking and maybe fiddle around with the possibility of... you can build bridges across water, by the way. You can build houses. You can do all kinds of stuff. We could build a house over here if we wanted to automatically deploy on this side of the map. We can do a bunch of stuff. I'll probably do a fountain, though. A fountain sounds pretty cool. Let's get some movement, shall we? I'm thinking this is looking like the spot for a fountain. So let's do it. Put him right there. Activate him. And I really want to finish the fountain before we do the rest of this. We got 1 hammer left right there. Get my 1 move. Put him there. And we now have a fountain, which gets us up to 7 out of 8 victory points. If you haven't seen this game, I don't blame you. This game escaped even my radar, and I'm usually pretty in tune with the indie game stuff that's coming out. If you've never been here before, this is a game series I do called Weekly Indie Newcomer, where I take a look at an indie game that I've been playing a lot over the course of the last week. This week we're taking a look at Axes and Acres, which is a really, really cool little title. I do highly recommend it. I've had fun with it. I was skeptical to begin with. If you wanted to get the game for yourself, it's $8.99 on Steam right now. It's on sale for 10% off. It's normally $10, $9.99. So I would recommend it for anybody that likes contemplative kind of Minesweeper-esque games where you've got to put a plan in motion and kind of know what you're doing on the map in order to finish things off. And the maps are varied. Sometimes you got rivers running through them. Sometimes you got all kinds of weird obstacles that can really vary the experience. No 2 maps have been the same for me, and they've all had their own particular challenges that need to be overcome. The only complaints that I think I would have about the game so far is that the learning curve can be a little bit weird, especially since the tutorial does not do an amazing job. Like, it'll get you there with the basic tenets, but sometimes it leaves little corners kind of, I don't know, a little bit shadowy, I guess. So, like, you'll have an idea of how to play the game, but there will still be portions of the gameplay where you're not quite sure how you should react to it. Some people will like that, some people will not, but either way, I've liked Axes and Acres so far, so I figured I'd do a little series on it. I will see you all next week with another indie game. Take care out there, everybody. My name is Splattercat. I hope you stop on by, and I hope you enjoyed this. Bye-bye.